And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back. Here we are. I just got a phone call. If you're watching the video, you definitely saw me react and then immediately put my phone down and start Googling. What I was doing before was turning down the TV, and it looks like I muted the TV. But I got a phone call from a 912 number, and I put it into Google, and one of these, I don't know what this is. I don't know why they called. I never get phone calls. Hey, let's get into this. Let's get into everything that I've done in the past week. I'm gonna move this down. Okay, here we go. I saw the Hadestown. This is episode 392. I saw the Hadestown filmed version of the musical. I had such a lovely time. Oh my god, it was so good. I wanted to go last week. And I thought it was going to be, because it says even on the poster, 5 days. It's only going to be in theaters for 5 days. And at my local art house theater, it was in there until, I believe, today. Today's Thursday. So that was more than 5 days. And then at AMC, they'd only scheduled it out because everybody's getting ready for Spider-Man Brand New Day. At AMC, they'd only scheduled it until Tuesday. Tuesday was the last day. I tried to buy tickets on Tuesday, and then when I looked at the map, the seating map, it was seating chart, it was packed. And I went, that's fucking insane. But great, that's good. Because I want people to see these musicals and movies and stuff like that. Same thing on Friday. I was going to go on Friday. I ended up going to the Odyssey. I wanted to go on Thursday night. I was willing to spend that money. And on Thursday night, it was, again, packed. Packed at AMC. And then my local art house theater had a good time on Thursday, because it was like 7:30 on both nights. And then I ended up going Monday night and spending a little bit more at the art house theater, but it was good. And by the time I bought my ticket, again, it was busy, even at the art house theater. But it started 15 minutes before the AMC one, which means. Oh, and also since it's an art house theater, it has less trailers, which means I get to go home earlier. I walked in as you know, I bike everywhere. I try to bike everywhere, except for when I go grocery shopping or take Maverick to a dog park or something. I bike everywhere. And I walk in as soon as the lights turn down. Like truly. From the trailers, and the first song starts playing. I walk in, I hear the notes from the first song, and there's something at these art house theaters, and I hate saying art house theater so many times. It was so dark. It was so dark because their walking lights were broken or whatever. But I walk in, I can't see shit, and that movie is dark. I walk in, I'm like, oh my god. So I try to turn on the light on my watch, the flashlight on my watch. I try to turn on the flashlight on my phone. It's too bright, and I just go, okay, I'm gonna try to stand here and then let my eyes adjust. And a couple of minutes go by, and they don't adjust, and the movie's still playing, and it's just so dark I can barely even see anything. And then eventually I go, there has to be a handicap seat. So I start walking, and then eventually I start seeing a sea of heads, and I go, oh shit. So I'm walking, and then I put my hand on what I think is a seat, and I go, thank God. And I sit down, and now I'm just getting acclimated to the movie. And then I will say 10 or so minutes later, somebody walks in late, and I feel a hand on the back of my head, and she goes, oh. And I turn around, and it's this, she has to be over the age of 70. Had to be over the age of 70. This woman, she's like, I'm sorry, I'm looking for my friends. Full volume while the movie's playing. And I go, okay, let me help you. I get up, and she's like, Are there any seats over here? I can't find my friends. And I go, no, there's no seats because we're in a handicap section. Like, there's no seats around us. And let me help you, let me. And there's like minutes of us fumbling, of trying to like walk around. And she's still speaking at full volume. And there's this guy that's sitting by himself in the back row in a corner. And he keeps going, and like slapping his arm against his leg. And then, but again, she's like, I am not kidding. The closer to 80 she is, I would believe it. And she's like, I can't find my friends. And she does this one thing. She's not standing near any seats. And I go, hey, follow me. It's okay. Go on. And so she starts moving, shuffling to the side like she's like she's in front of a chair. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm just laughing. And then I don't grab. I'm sorry. I place my hand on her back and I'm like, come on, let's walk down the aisles to see if we can find your friends. And then her eyes finally adjust. And it's been like three minutes or so at this point. And she goes, oh, I see them. And I go, all right. And she goes, where's the aisle? And I go, it's right down there. And like I help her over there. She goes, thank you. She finds her friends, taps them on the shoulder, sits behind them because they're already sat down their row. And she sits next to a guy who is definitely there alone and not with those friends. Because not even 8 or so, almost 10 minutes later, I guess she's eating her popcorn too loud or something, but he gets up in a fervor and storms out of the theater and pretends to wait outside and then comes back in after like 2 minutes and then sits down in the other handicap section. But those seats aren't bolted down, and he moves the entire row back. It's a row of like 4 seats, but he moves the entire row back. And there's a couple who was sitting in front of that, and that woman is now annoyed that guy's back there. The guy I told you about earlier, who was by himself in a corner, who's like mad that this older woman who needed help was talking. His phone went off twice. He looked at his phone, full bright volume. Volume. Oh, sorry. Full brightness on the screen. Looked at his phone so much, and was just generally just an annoyance the entire time. And then this guy that sat in the handicap thing, he also looked at his phone so many times. How can these people who are complaining about decency just be such dillholes about that? I also saw the Odyssey. Now, this is going to be a little bit longer of a tale, but I'm going to shorten it. I saw it at the Plaza Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. I never go there, mostly because I'm not a hipster and I just don't fit in with that crowd. There are moments I go to hipster places sometimes and they look at me. I feel like I have cop energy. And you know what? I do. I carry myself in a very militaristic manner. It's very true. When I was working for a moving company, I wanted to get things done. I knock things out. I don't look at my phone a lot. And I multiple times when I was working for this moving company, some of the guys I worked with were like, "Were you in the military?" Because I guess I just stand there sometimes very stiffly, and I just do what I need to do to get things done. Anyway, so I went to the Plaza Theater. I get there. The movie starts at 11 a.m. Keep that time in mind. I have a summer Friday, so I have the day off. Still getting paid, baby. It's pouring rain, so I have to drive. And I walk in. I have a Publix sandwich in my pocket. I get a popcorn. The popcorn was cheap. A large, though, was the size of a small at AMC. Popcorn was like $8. I get a popcorn, and the popcorn's fine. AMC's popcorn is better, mostly because they use Flavacol. This place does not use that. And I sit down. I go into the theater, and the trailers are about to start. This is a 70 millimeter showing. It's not 70 millimeter IMAX, but it's 70 millimeter, so I did pay as much as 70 millimeter IMAX, $30. I'm happy to do it. More than happy to do it to help out another local theater 2 days in a row or something like that. Anyway, I sit down. I walk in. They have like 3 screens, and then on the biggest screen is a 70 millimeter screen. I walk in, and it's 11 a.m. on a Friday. but it's in the summer, so it's packed again, and not super packed, but like there's a lot of people in there, and I wish I'd sat closer and on an aisle seat, but I got an aisle seat directly in the back, but I literally ran into a guy who did not say excuse me. I went, oh man, I'm so sorry. Did not even notice I was a human being. And he sat down in the aisle next to me. So we're both on aisle seats. And sat down the aisle next to me. Another gentleman who checked his phone. And when I'm not saying this with hyperbole or anything, he checked his phone no less than 12 times throughout the 3-hour movie. He also reeked of alcohol, which I can say because he had 3 tall boys during the movie. At 11 o'clock in the morning, cracked it open, and he smelled like it before the movie even started. So I don't know, boy, but he was going at it, just crack open, chug, crack open, chug. Oh my gosh, checking his phone, and again, full brightness. Like truly, guys, come on. But I enjoyed my time at both movies, and I'm so glad they happened. I'm also playing the new Halo campaign Evolved, which is the remake of the Halo 1 campaign. That was my first game with guns was Resident Evil 4. It was on the GameCube. I still have that copy. It's 2 GameCube discs. They're like this tiny. And my second game with guns was Halo Combat Evolved. So I went from a horror game thinking that every game with guns is very scary. And you know what? It still remains true. I do not like the Flood. The Flood is very scary to me, even if it's not scary to anybody else. I can't wait to beat Halo Campaign Evolved so I can delete it from my Xbox. That's what they're like, these big games on PS5 and Xbox. Every time I download them, I'm like, I have to beat this as soon as possible because I don't want this shit on my Xbox anymore or PlayStation. All right. This first story comes from Variety, and it's written by Brian Steinberg, Ross Douthat, Sebastian Junger, Gianna Tobani, Trevor Phillips to join CBS's 60 Minutes. Of course, we know that CBS News has gone through a change because David Ellison bought it, and now Skydance and Paramount became Paramount Skydance. He instilled that fat little cherub, Barry Weiss, who has never worked a day in television news in her life. I have more TV and TV news experience, both singular and combined. And they've turned into a very conservative rag. Now they've hired more conservatives to join the ranks. At least 2 of them are. Ross Douthat, if you don't know, is a conservative New York Times columnist. Sorry, I'm drunk. And author Sebastian Junger are joining CBS's 60 Minutes, CBS News' 60 Minutes as correspondents. CBS News correspondents Trevor Phillips and filmmaker Gianna Tabani are also doing their part to do it. Nora O'Donnell is going to do more stories on the program. And it's they were chosen because the current CBS what is his executive producer, the current CBS News 60 Minutes executive producer, Nick Bilton, says that these people are entrepreneurial journalists, quote unquote, who understand how to reach modern audiences. Ross Douthat writes some, I'm trying not to shit on people too much because I do think he's a decent writer, but he writes conservative opinion pieces for the New York Times, and he has a podcast as well. And it's a lot of partial fear mongering. Like, I don't mind trans people, but I don't want them around me. Things of that nature. But anyway, people quit 60 Minutes, and including Scott Pelley and Cecilia Vega and Sharon Alfonsi, I believe, who were fired. But we're just seeing this shift. 60 Minutes is, again, a gray area, as all news should be. It should just be boring. Like PBS NewsHour is playing on the TV right now. It should just be straight up boring stuff. And now we're getting this lean to the right, which I think is going to be a hard turn at some point within the future. Okay, let's move on to the next story. Disney is no longer doing a Wonder Man season 2. Oh boy, sorry, I just did something. This comes from Variety again, written by Joe Otterson. Disney had a very successful show in Wonder Man. Ben Kingsley played his character from Iron Man 2. And then we have Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who apparently did a fantastic. I've never seen the show, but did a fantastic job as an actor who is playing a superhero who I believe in turn gets superpowers. So it's a trifecta there. People love this show, and it's good and diverse, and it tied into the larger Marvel universe without being overt about it. Disney renews it for a second season. It wins an Emmy, and then today, boom, they decide not to do it. The characters featured in the series could still appear in other Marvel projects, obviously. All of the other live action shows for Marvel, or Disney Plus rather, for Disney Plus, not Marvel on Netflix. Now those shows are on Disney Plus now, but have all mostly been single seasons, with the exception of, I believe, the Daredevil show has more than one season. But WandaVision, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's what that show was called. I couldn't remember what that show was called for the life of me for the past couple of weeks, and I decided not to look it up. Hawkeye and Moon Knight. Loki and had 2 seasons, and then WandaVision has a spinoff of its own called Vision Quest coming, as well as Agatha All Along. Okay. But other than that, Wonder Man was kind of an anomaly. And for them to renew it meant that they had, it was like their version of the studio. People loved the Hollywood-ness of that. But now to, renege on that it just seems like to me something that they want to say that they have their ability to say, we have this diverse thing and we want you to watch it. But in the end, if you don't trust it, then why would you want the audience not to do so? I should have turned that off a long time ago because I was hearing a hissing in the headphones. Whoops. I had the feed on for the iPad. But I've never seen this show, and all I heard or read about this was praise. All I saw was praise for this show. And I really like Yahya Abdul-Mateen. I think Ben Kingsley is fantastic. And just if Marvel wants, if there is a Marvel fatigue, we are not seeing it because people are excited for Avengers Doomsday, and tonight is the release of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So if you could do justice for this larger universe, why not do so with just curated television shows instead of giving these people this confidence that their show did well, and it did do well, but not well enough apparently, and canceling these programs. But again, I've never seen it. Would I watch it? Yeah, maybe. Let's never say never, because I watched 2.5 seasons of The Mandalorian, albeit very slowly. I watched Bad Batch. That doesn't count because I love the cartoons. The cartoons are very good, the Star Wars cartoons. What else? What else have I seen? I watched one episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier. So there you go. Hey, let's go on to the Odyssey. This comes from NPR. It's written by Dave Davies, and it was heard on Fresh Air. Odyssey translator Emily Wilson says Nolan shouldn't have written the movie himself. Now, if you don't know, Christopher Nolan cited Emily Wilson, the Pennsylvania classic scholar, University of Pennsylvania classic scholar, her translation of Homer's epic poem from 2017 as the inspiration for his script. She came out this week on Fresh Air and said that his script is poorly written and lacking in emotional depth and character development. She also added there's no sex scenes and all the food looks horrible. You should definitely read through this because her complaints are so vapid, and we'll get to what they sound like in a second. In the next story I want to relate to. However, I want to read what she says. I hate that tease, but I do want to read what she says about Matt Damon and the things. She says there should be a protagonist with detailed and believable motivation, but these desires seem stripped from Odysseus. He doesn't seem to want food. He doesn't seem to want sex. What does he want? And she referred to Matt Damon's Odysseus as to having anxiety and just wanting to get home. This is a different take on the Odyssey. Do we need to follow along with the exact story that, quite frankly, millions of people have probably read or heard about in bits and pieces throughout their entire lives? And if you don't know the story of the Odyssey, that's on you. There's no way you can spoil this movie. I hate there's a spoiler review for the Odyssey. It's the fucking Odyssey. Calm down. She says that in regards to Damon's Odysseus, he's clever and smart and therefore a fascinating character. But the movie gives us a version of Matt Damon as Odysseus who is not required to be smart. Instead, he's just constantly troubled by anxiety about the role in Trojan Horse and Trojan Horse War. I mean, isn't that in Trojan War? Excuse me. That's a shame. But isn't that isn't that an interesting thing to explore as opposed to somebody who is just like, I'm ready to bang all the time and I'm hungry and things like that. We see them eat. And also, why do you want to see them eat? But like they mention eating one of the sheep on the ships. It's from the cave of the giant. Like we heard them talk about wanting food and things like that. Also, they're at sea. She also complained about how the sirens are seals instead of bird-like women with faces and like being sexy and luring them over. Shouldn't you be more excited that he's not objectifying all like different types of things and people? It's crazy. She complains that there's no gods. She says that Zendaya is kind of like a god, maybe, but like she's like sort of like Athena, but isn't she? I don't know if she's seen the movie because Poseidon. While we don't see the gods, we know that Poseidon shook around the sea for them. The god who had all those cows, that god killed his entire group of people. We saw Calypso. I don't know if Calypso's a god. Yeah, I think Calypso's a god. But we saw Calypso, Charlize Theron's Calypso. We know she's a god. Like, is it not possible that all of these things exist and can exist in tandem? This is the way that she complained about this was so innate. It was just so stupid. Now Joyce Carol Oates agrees with me. This comes from Jack Dunn at Variety. It's a really Variety hour today. That's the title of this episode. I'm sorry. But Joyce Carol Oates defended the Odyssey movie and slams a translator for scathing review. It speaks in the crude language of MAGA folks, and she is right. Joyce Carol Oates is correct. This woman came out and gave her, and obviously, yes, I understand, she's tied to the Odyssey in a way that no other human being on planet Earth probably currently is right now. But her reasons for not liking the movie are as broken as Disney's decision to cancel Wonder Man Season 2, tying it all back in. It doesn't make sense for somebody to be mad that certain things and people in the movies exist. Also, she did complain that about the casting, but we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so here's Joyce Carol Oates. Her quote says, she wrote on X, of all places, rather than disagreeing with interpretations of Homer in a collegial manner, this person, who has benefited enormously from Nolan's film, speaks in the crude language of MAGA folks, attacking someone with ideas that differ from hers. One would expect a translator, of all people, beholden to a text, in service to a text, to be just a wee bit more thoughtful and respectful of others who are acting in good faith, just as she would claim she is. Saying that the movie lacked any kind of depth and that it wasn't as political or physical or psychological, as she says, or emotional. And it says, and she said it had nothing convincing to say. To say all those things is, I don't understand. Did she go in with the source material in the back of her head wanting something else? And that's a big issue. If you want something from a movie, if you're expecting something, then in the end it's probably going to affect the way you see that movie or TV show or song or play or whatever. If you go in with just these great expectations, then what you're going to walk away with is Ready Player One. See, I did a reference to the book. No, Great Expectations is a book, yes. And then I said the worst book that I could ever think of was Ready Player One. There you go. You're welcome. She also said the writing was abysmal, which is crazy. Now, I saw this today, and this really pissed me off. Derek Lawrence and Shelby Stavale at Entertainment Weekly have a follow-up story. She said, oh, Jesus Christ, how do you close this? Okay. The Odyssey translator, Emily Wilson, has one quote-unquote regret about scathing criticism of Christopher Nolan's abysmal script. She shared a little blue sky pointing out in her exact blue sky, it says, in this piece, I regret the paragraph about the uses of the POC actors who were all great, but in my opinion, IMO, underutilized. And why? I've never seen the hyphen between underutilized. And why couldn't Himesh Patel be Odysseus instead? I still think the film largely wastes its strong cast, but I framed it badly. She was, I mean, I appreciate that she said that, but man, just to call out the cast and say that they weren't good, it's incomprehensible. Also, why are we comparing Himesh to Matt Damon? If anything, it's fine. Himesh Patel was, in my eyes, second billing, maybe third billing. I would definitely put him above Tom Holland. It'd be Damon, Hathaway, Himesh. Yeah. Anyway, I do disagree with everything she said, and it's not necessarily my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I understand, again, how close she is to the text, but man, it's I will say this. There were moments, because I didn't know everybody who was in the movie, there were moments where people would pop up and I went, what? Why are they here? Oh my gosh. I did it, but obviously I did enjoy the movie, and I'm glad I saw today that it was extended in IMAX showings, so that's fantastic. I'm so glad that that's happening. When the credits started rolling, I wanted to see who the music had done, and I had two guesses, and my second guess was it. I was like, it's going to be Hans Zimmer or Ludwig Göransson, and it was Ludwig Göransson. That guy started with Donald Glover. It's crazy. That's insane to me. And he's done a lot of great projects. I'm excited. I want to see the movie again, and I'm just fascinated with all the things that happen in the movie. And you know what? And it obviously, I think everybody's already seen it by now, but it moved along so very well, so very well. Oh, I also watched the He-Man movie, the Masters of the Universe movie. I don't think that's going to get a sequel, but oh my gosh, that movie was so good. I had such a fun time. Travis Knight did an excellent job. It's a little long in the tooth. It is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, but the action looks great. I do think that the lead guy did a very good job, and everybody else was fantastic. Alison Brie, unfortunately, Jared Leto wasn't good. Morena Baccarin. if this movie were just like a season of a TV show, I think it would have been fine. But man, it was a very good and bright action movie. And I'm glad. What I was concerned about was we would meet, Adam in real life, in the real world, and he would not know who he was. And then Camila Mendez was going to come and then be like, "You're actually a hero from Eternia, so come with us." But instead, he knew, and he was an outcast on his own on Earth. That's a beautiful. I love it. I love it. Idris Elba was fantastic. Oh God, everybody was so good. Everybody was so good. I really enjoyed it. And then I saw that it was going to become available on DVD, on Blu-ray. So I was thinking, let me add it to my list. I see what they have to offer for special features, and it's like 3 minutes of special features, and it pisses me off. I am somebody who will spend money on movies. A lot of people do. It's just ridiculous. It also made me think. My memory of, I wish Orko was in the movie. Orko was in the movie right before the credits. But I wish they had Orko. I know they had a shit ton of characters already, but I wish they had Orko. And there's a lot of great jokes. That movie it was a very funny movie. It is a very funny movie. But when Cringer was talking, I thought, is this usually how Cringer sounds? And I wanted to wait till after the movie to see. And then when the movie finished, I watched clips. I went, oh God, this is not, like, in my head, that's not how Cringer / Battlecat sounded. I also saw Mortal Kombat 2. I watched Mortal Kombat 2 on Tuesday, and I loved it. I love those Mortal Kombat movies. They kill off 2 main characters with plenty of movie left, and Johnny Cage is the main character for this movie. I wondered, because the main character for the last movie barely had any lines, right? What was his name? Mortal Kombat. His name was Cole Young. Yes, Louis Tan's Cole Young. He barely had any lines in the second one, and then he was killed. And then they killed Jax, and then Mecca Brooks. And I was like, wow, this is amazing that they shifted characters. Is kind of like G.I. Joe Retaliation, a movie I do own. When they killed Channing Tatum in the first 15 minutes, and then the movie follows Dwayne Johnson after that, because in the first movie was Channing Tatum. So my hope is for the third movie, I hope there's a third movie. My hope is they move off of Johnny Cage and follow somebody else. That'd be so fun to have different leaders every movie. That would be like the original plan for Toy Story 5 was to not have Woody in it. Imagine how different of a movie that would have been. Also, they call Woody, or Jesse calls Woody, and then he shows up like the next day with Bo Peep in the little cop toy too, and Duke, Keanu Reeves is Duke. Just have an excuse to have him there. He show up. How did they drive with the skunk RC car? They just left the carnival, I guess, and then just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Or is the carnival still there? And they drove for hours? I don't know. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. I just put out an interview with Zach Noe Towers. Check that out. We've got a couple more interviews coming out in the next couple of weeks. If you want to see a video version of those interviews, as well as video versions of this show, and video versions, as well as video versions of the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. There's a monologue now. And LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs and Business News podcast. Find that on youtube.com/C+comedy, where you can also find old episodes of News Time. I promise that show is coming back. I promise the show is coming back. I'm only vamping right now because I forgot to press the button. So we have to go through this entire thing. Subscribe to all of the podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at C+Comedy on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.